I'd like to move back into the published world now.
Okay.
To Earl in the Yellow Shirt, which some people have compared quite, almost necessarily to Faulkner's As I Lay Dying.
I wonder why.
It is reminiscent. There's something about dead people that's kind of parallel.
This is my favorite novel. This cover, the editor who worked with me on all my books at Archivist, he's now retired. My daddy, my big daddy. I loved working on this book with him, and that was a special time in my life. One thing, I felt very secure all of a sudden, maybe even a little bit cocky. There I was getting a book published a year in a big house. But Earl in the Yellow Shirt was very, very special for a lot of reasons. One thing, I actually cleaned out my journal and connecting stories. So I was planning like putting a puzzle together. How many of these tales that my dad's told me and other people can I connect? Tales about wells, moonshine, the dumpster man, all of these things, and particularly the story my daddy told me about a man who, my daddy's real ironic storyteller, and he doesn't even know, but he's a wonderful storyteller, and he told me about this man whose wife had died, and the man really wanted a younger woman. So he says to his older children, your mama and me is done with one another. Y'all do what you want to about it. And so I thought, this is just so funny when Daddy told me this, and I didn't know where I would use it. I put it down, and then I was fascinated, so fascinated, I would keep going back and thinking about this old man and how I despised him for that. You know, his wife's dead.
Right.
He has his grandchildren. He's trying to get out of having to pay for her burial expenses. Just so happened that at the same time I was reading Faulkner, and I needed a way to tell the story. But I was reading Clyde Edgerton's float plane notebooks, which is far superior to me than so much Southern lit. I don't want to say to Faulkner, but in a way in Faulkner. Or it was to me, and particularly at the time I was fascinated, riveted, and it gave me a way to tell the story. Unfortunately, the subject matter was the same as Faulkner's As I Lay Dying, so I got accused of that. But not altogether untrue, because I'm sure there were influences. It didn't even seem to me like a bad thing to do at the time, because I didn't know the difference.
But when I read some reviews of it, and they were like, she pulled it off. She did it.
Yeah.
She tackled the the big guy and pulled it off.
Yeah. Actually, I got the worst reviews on this book that I've had on any book. But they were still better than average. I don't know why my reviews are good. My reviews are good. The reviewers like me for some reason. I don't know if it's because they're afraid that I might do something great, or that I have so many books coming out and they will have missed the boat. I don't know. But this book is still my favorite, and I think it's the prettiest book I've had, for one thing, except maybe Just Doll, which I'll talk about. The time that was put into this, like in Just Doll. It got a lot of attention. It was amazing to put together and to work with my editor. And this is the first time my editor had said, okay, I want to talk to you about something. I want you to change something. Not change, but add. And I thought, oh my goodness, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just an editor. And as it turned out, I had written the story there again previously, and I didn't have Earl have a part in the telling of the story. Everybody else is telling about Earl, which I thought was so literarily cool. Really good here. And then he said, just try it. And so we spent the summer working back and forth, and me writing Earl's sections, and I had so much fun that I forgot his writings never worked to me. But in that case, so confident, and everything I would write, he would say, I love it, I love it, I love it. And so, and now that I look back on the book as a whole, those are my favorite parts, the parts
that you added to it.
Yeah. So that was a great, fun summer.
That's good. Do you find, this is just a personal question, I guess, do you find that when you write, once you've written something, it's percolated inside and you've written it, then you can get rid of it, twist it around, discard it, then it suddenly isn't nearly as necessary as it seemed before you wrote it down? But you have that experience?
Yeah, but just recently I've just gotten over wanting to hang on to everything that I write and thinking that everything's gospel that I write, and I was so happy when I learned with Just Doll, and you'll start seeing the notes on my new novel, my 2004 novel, you'll start seeing in the notes, I hope you're going to find it because I can't find them and I don't need them anyway, but I had written a whole section about this doll's daughter dying of malaria and about the camp where she was living. And I don't know why I decided to pull that out or what I did, because I was working on my own at the time, so I don't know what I did with that or why I took it out. But I know it was wise now to take it out, so that made me feel good about myself. I have finally gotten there if I can take something.
Now you got it.
I do remember something I'll tell you that's sort of interesting to me, and particularly with Necessary Lies, was this, I was obsessed with page counts, word counts. I wanted my books to be longer. That's one reason I would interject stuff I probably didn't need, was because I think, now how many pages will this make? And I'm no good at math. You know, and just going, I want this to be at least 200 pages. I would always do that. 200 was that magic. And I don't know, I guess with Like a Sister I finally learned, just tell the story. You don't have to have 200 pages.
Just tell the story.
Have it land safely and let it go.